Okay.
This is Karen with newclevelandradio.net, and it is time for What in the World with Paul Sieber, that guy that was going around, fixing his hair, and John Denalo.
What hair?
And it's Wednesday. I know, guys, we're all messed up. It's Wednesday, not Tuesday. And we will blame Zoom one more time because yesterday Zoom did not like any of us logging on. But we're here today.
That's
So
right.
welcome. And we're live.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Great. Welcome to everybody who's listening to us live. And by us, I mean, what in the world? Everybody's favorite weird news podcast, real news, sometimes strange, always funny. That's our motto. I'm your host, Paul Sieber, and that's it, the host. What else is it? Welcome if you came to us from my Facebook page or if you came from mysteriousuniverse.org, where I'm the editor and head writer. If you're just wandering through the podcast universe and you happen to stumble upon it, that's even better. For all those who are regular listeners, the live broadcast, all kind of good stuff's going on here. This is
That's wonderful AI for you.
Yes, exactly. For those of you who managed to move from Tuesday to Wednesday, thank you so much for joining us, especially Marion. If that's you, Marion posts all the time. She seems to be quite a follower and a listener. So thank you, Marion. She also sends show suggestions as well. I think one of her stories is in the show today. So. Let's see. Let's introduce some of the voices that you're getting in your ear right now. The first one is, of course, our co-host, producer, media mogul at newclevelandradio.net, Karen Hale. Karen is all those things. Plus, she is the proprietor of Yes I Can Coaching with Karen, which is our sponsor. So how do you find out about all that? Go to newclevelandradio.net. That's her website. There's links to us and how to find us on Spotify and Apple and YouTube especially. We always promote YouTube because we've got some photos that go along with our stories. So please check us out there. And then check out all of the other podcasts that Karen has on her newclevelandradio.net. Great podcast. None of them like What in the World. Yeah, all different kinds of subjects and therapies and who knows what. So it's up to you to check that out.
Well, before you go any further, if anybody
Yes.
is hearing sound in the background, I
Yeah.
don't know where it's coming from. I have everything turned off on my computer. So we apologize for any interference in the background.
Yeah, it's we have noticed that. Yeah, I'll send my apologies too. I don't think it's me. Did it turn off there? No, it's still there.
Nope,
Okay.
it's still there.
Okay, well, all right, we'll keep on going here. Let's see, how many voices do you have in your ear today? That
Always
other
keep
voice,
it light, Paul. Always
there
great
you
of
go,
keeping
John.
it light,
That's
keeping it light.
our other guy, our co-host, sports guy, John Denalo. How you doing today, John?
I'm doing well, Paul. It's kind of a gloomy, cloudy day in Cleveland, Ohio, but we're inside and we've got a great show lined up today. So we'll all enjoy it.
That's great. It is cold. I wore my lucky Bigfoot shirt because I thought, well, maybe it would bring us luck. And also, I was cold.
That's a good reason, Paul. That's a good reason.
It's so let's get right. I think I have a Bigfoot story today on the show. So let's get right to it with what we're going to be talking about today. So let's see. I've got the world's holiest baseball cards. I think you'll figure out who we might be talking about. But big surprise, there's other holy baseball cards besides you know who. Alligators in Florida who won't take no for an answer. For those of you listening or watching from Florida, this is for you. A hair-raising world record from California. This is a world record that neither John nor I would be able to accomplish. The world's scariest B&B. Oh boy, you have to see this one to believe it. This is in China. Oh, I got a friendly Bigfoot story from Idaho, and also,
Oh,
yeah, from Idaho, we've got along with all over the world, giant potatoes, potato hotels, potato museums, and more Spud Mania. This is Spud Week on What in the World. Let's see what else. Plus, we got some more odd news. I've got some more world records. We got trivia question. John's got a strange sport for us. Then we play everybody's favorite weird news game, Bluff the co-host. So before Zoom does anything else to us, I don't hear the voices in my speaker anymore, Karen. So if you did something, congratulations. If
Well, I muted my mic, but I
uh-huh.
have nothing going on in here. So that's why I'm confused. But I'm going to mute it again.
Go figure. Go figure. Okay. All right. Well, let's see what we got here. So, John, do you have any more baseball cards? You've got some, I know, in your collection.
I do have some of my collection. I have some autographed cards of some of the pro athletes and what have you. But truth be told, many years ago, my mom decided to get rid of my baseball cards and my two brothers' baseball cards. This is
Oh,
this is prior to the big surge, right? Which was what, like maybe 20, 30 years ago,
right,
when card collecting really kind of came into the foray. I can remember when I was a kid. I mean, that was like a highlight of the summer was, going to the store and, not only getting the baseball card, but getting, of course, that pink gum, right, to
Oh,
chew.
yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of what it was. And I have a friend of mine, smart guy. He decides to corner the market. And so what he does, he starts ending up not just buying one or two packs at a time. He would save his money and then he would buy entire boxes of these cards from the five and dime store, the drugstore, wherever it was. And
Wow.
so him and his brothers, they may still have their cards, as a matter of fact, and they had complete sets, which was the goal that we all had,
Oh,
right?
yeah, that's
Because
right.
because
Yeah.
a lot of times you'd have that guy as a double, that guy's a double, that guy's a double, right? And didn't do you any good. But they had quite a collection over there. And yeah, unfortunately, I have to say that I just have a very, very small number of what I used to have.
Well, what you need to get is a Pope card. Uh, the
Oh yeah,
That's what we're going to be talking about. That's right. So
sure.
I got our logo up here, and of course we always follow that with a picture of my new book. What would you say to a naked Spalian? A Spalian. I'm eliminating syllables from my vocabulary in order to save time. A naked space alien now available on Amazon. So check that out. Now we're going to talk about the new Pope, Pope Leo the 14th. The As soon as he was named Pope, Topps came out with a Pope baseball card, or with a Pope card, I guess you would.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. The has him saying Habemus Papam. I don't know what that means. He's waving his hand. So it's outselling. Top said as soon as it came out, it was already outselling cards that honored basketball star LeBron James, soccer star Lionel Messi, and pro wrestler John Cena. So the Pope in just a few days is outselling all these big time athletes. The So you flip it over, you get the stats, and they said that Leo, he can't shoot, he can't kick, he can't pin, like in wrestling, but he's the only one with his card is also a get out of jail, get out of hell free.
Well, there's a point to that, obviously, Paul.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But if you check with the stats, John, they said, Leo, he's from Chicago. He bats left, but he throws Latin right. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So if you for us Americans, we don't really care about the Catholic side. Even us Catholics don't care. We want to know which team he rooted for. John, do you have a guess which team? Chicago team he was his favorite?
I want to say that oh boy, he's from Chicago, so it's a toss-up. It could be the Cubs, it could be the White Sox. I want to say that he rooted for the Cubs.
uh, they said that he grew up in the neighborhood where you would have rooted for the Cubs, but he actually is a fan of the White Sox.
Oh wow, okay.
Although, yeah, he does forgive himself for doing that, just so.
Right, right.
Yeah, but he's not a baseball player. His sport is actually tennis. He's a big tennis player. He annoys all the other players on the court, they said, because he always says is the score is love thy neighbor.
Oh,
That's okay, Paul. That's not bad. That's not bad.
The first people he met, one of the first people he met after he became Pope was the number one tennis player in the world, a guy by the name. Do you follow tennis, John?
A little bit. Yeah, I know
Oh,
that Roland Garros is being played in France right now, but yeah, I do follow
okay,
tennis.
so this is France. Who's the number one player in the world?
Well, I couldn't tell you.
His name is Yannick Sinner, which is ironic for a sinner to be visiting the Pope, obviously.
Yeah, a little play on words there, I see. Right.
That's right. And his full name, he has a middle name. His middle name is Vignal. So he is Yannick Vignal Sinner.
Oh, geez.
Sorry, that's for the Catholic listening out there. Pope Francis, his predecessor, also had a playing card. But Francis didn't, he grew up in Argentina, so he never was interested in baseball as a kid. Although he said he was a fan of the Padres and the Cardinals, just because
Well, you got to figure that. I mean, something to do with the name there, obviously.
it comes with the job, John.
Of course,
So,
of course.
I went looking to see what other popes had cards, and if a pope was a saint, believe it or not, they had a baseball card, but it was part of these saints cards. So I found a deck of patron saints, devotional cards to the patron saints.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
Now, I noticed there's 52 of them, so I have a feeling these are playing cards as well, which seems...
Yeah, I mean, the first thought that comes to my mind is if it's 52, it seems like it would be playing cards. Yeah.
Somewhat hypocritical there, but we'll take it. So, I mean, I don't know. Is it a sin to play poker with saint cards? I don't know. But then I thought, you play chess with the bishops. So,
oh yeah, sure.
Oh, good one.
Yeah. So here's a different set of cards. Now these were actual just collectible cards, and there's a set of 7. You can see Mother Teresa is in one set.
Mm-hmm.
And one pope looks like Nostradamus up there. I don't know who he is, but there you can see Pope John Paul II down there in set number 7. So
right, I see that. Right.
There's one right there. He was a pope and also a saint, so that got him a twofer. Let's move on from that. Most popular story from the past. We actually into the previous week because we missed last week. So I continue to get hits on this on Facebook. In Lee County, Florida, an alligator was driving people crazy by knocking on their doors. So it bothered so many people, knocked on so many doors that they called the wildlife officials to come in, and they were unable to catch it until the gator got stuck in a folding chair. I think I have a picture of there it is. There's the alligator stuck in a folding chair. Yeah. The wildlife official said this was the first time they'd seen a gator letting people know that he was in the neighborhood doing landscaping. He was ringing the doorbell. So the local police said that they pursued the alligator while it had the chair on its head. It actually went running around with the chair on its head, which technically made the chair a chase lounge.
Oh,
I know. Yeah, that one deserves a horn. Sorry about that. Some people said because it was going to so many doors, it was a Mormon gator. There was such a thing. Yeah. If you're going to answer the door, if you don't have a peephole or one of those ring cameras and you don't know who it is, but if you just better hope you don't have your alligator skin cowboy boots on when the alligator shows up.
That could be problematic.
Yeah. Now, they also said to be careful that they don't show up in your hot tub. What's the strangest thing that you found in your hot tub, John?
I'm going to be very confident saying this, that the twigs from a tree from our neighbor, that's probably it.
Oh, I thought maybe you found your neighbor, but just
no. No, that's a good point, Paul. No, we're very careful to make sure it's covered at all times, and and so forth. But that's about, and maybe some. I'll take that back. Maybe some insects. Some insects that we
Insects. Oh,
don't.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're always buzzing around or whatever. But
I thought
that's
that's what
about the
you did
extent
in
of
the
it.
hot tub, but that's another story. Okay, the this one comes from New Jersey. We got a world record here. Oh, this is another one that's been very popular on Facebook. Paul Budline from New Jersey now owns the new Guinness World Record for the oldest person to perform a handstand, oldest male person to perform a handstand for 15 seconds. This guy, John, everybody out there who's our age, 74 years old.
Wow,
Yeah. Not only
that's that's amazing.
yeah,
Wow.
not only could he get into a handstand, which is a feat in and of itself, but he held it for 15 seconds. Um,
A
even more
strong
amazing,
guy. Yeah.
yeah, more amazing for someone of his age. He was able to find all the change that fell out of his pocket after, so he doesn't look like he's got glasses on either. So he's got good vision at that age. At that age, it took twice as long. So it took 30 seconds for all of his skin to sag back into place.
Oh my gosh.
One of, one of the drawbacks to doing handstands when you're 74. Other than physical fitness, the skill only comes in handy when checking to see if a bathroom stall is occupied.
Oh, that would be a practical usage right there.
I think so, yeah. Although I don't know what would happen if the person inside got spooked and opened the door and knocked them over.
Yeah.
So they asked him, what's the secret to doing a handstand? And he said, start when you're 15 years old.
Good idea. Yeah.
He's been doing them all of his life. Yeah. So, if you guys see me upside down, call 911. I'm not.
No, be sure of that. You'll be sure of that, Paul.
I'm not doing a handstand. Now, this makes it even better. He had a hip replacement when he was 70. So that was 4 years ago. He's back doing handstands.
Wow.
Records. Yeah. Yeah. They should check and see if he didn't have like one of those gyroscopes installed with the hip. To balance. That's the first thing that came to mind when I heard about the hip replacement. You remember gyroscopes, John and Karen and everybody else?
Oh, sure. In fact, weren't they also on a string, and you could also pull them, and so that they would be spinning?
Yes.
That's what I remember.
Yes. Well, there's a picture of one right there. So, for those of you who don't remember, if you're not of that, and they're still available, by the way, they were a little flying saucer inside two metal rings on a post. And yeah, what you did was you fed the string through a hole and then you wrapped it around kind of like a yo-yo or a top, and you pulled the string. But instead of it spinning around on the floor like a top, it stayed right where it was.
Right.
You could balance it on your finger. This picture, they got it balanced on a string. These things were invented in 1911, so they're 110 years old. They were made by the Hearst Manufacturing Company and made later by Chandler under the name the Chandler Gyroscope. And in the first half of the 20th century, they were found at, John mentioned it before, 5 and dime stores. I think I have a picture. There's a box right there.
Oh yeah, there you go. Sure.
Yeah. They were bought by the Tedco company, and that's what this is, a Tedco. I have one somewhere. I couldn't find it. I wish I could. I know I don't have the box, but what I really wish I had was a gyroscope that came out in conjunction with the Lost in Space show. So again, our friends of a certain age, you remember Lost in Space back in between 1965 and 1968, big show. My family had one of these, the Mystery Spaceship by Marx. Did you guys have any one of those?
No, Paul, I'm going to say that we have not. We did not, I should say.
Well, this thing was the size of a dinner plate. You can see the yellow thing, the size. It looked like a real flying saucer. It had bubbles on it. There were two people inside of it, and the crank that you stuck into it. They have a picture of the crank on the side, and you just cranked and cranked and cranked and cranked until your arm was ready to fall off, and then it did the same thing. You could put it on a stand. They had a stand that looked like the surface of Mars. So I remember cleaning my mom's house out. I could have sworn I found it. I couldn't find the box, but I believe I have that somewhere as well. Now selling for $200 on eBay. So
Wow,
Wow.
that's what they're going
Wow.
for, huh? Wow,
yeah,
interesting.
incentive for looking for that kind of stuff, or for blaming your mom for throwing out all that money. You'd be rich now, John, if
Well, you know what? Sometimes life deals you some tough cards to play. So I guess I
there
look
you
at it
go.
that
Yeah.
way.
So my cousin was hiking in Rocky Mountain National Forest, in Rocky Mountain National Park a couple weeks ago, and sent me a picture of a moose that she saw, which is not the moose that we're going to be talking about, but the moose that we'll talk about is a pregnant moose. Now, this was in Alaska, in Anchorage, Alaska. There's a picture of the lovely mother and her baby. A pregnant moose wandered onto the grass outside Providence Hospital in Anchorage, Alaska, and gave birth to a healthy calf while she was just laying there in the grounds of the hospital. Uh, a coincidence, I guess. I don't know. Mother and baby are doing fine, and believe it or not, the entire procedure was covered by medical mutual. Mutual. I'm sorry, I mispronounced the insurance company there. Now, believe it or not, this is not the first moose that they've had do weird things at this Providence Hospital. We talked about this in 2023, and I couldn't find a picture, but they previously had a visit in 2023 when a young moose wandered into the hospital's lobby and was munching on plants until the security showed up. And there was an employee there who annoyed the moose, trying to get it to sign forms in order to to be allowed inside the hospital. But moose didn't do that. So this particular one, the one where the baby was born, they said that people were in the hospital cafeteria and they saw the moose in through the cafeteria windows. So they were watching the whole birth in the while in the cafeteria, which just tells you how bad cafeteria food must be in the hospital to um, to ignore the food and watch a baby calf being born. Now,
Wow.
the lady at the counter in the cafeteria said that once it was over, everybody came back to finish up what they were eating. But she said once that happened, she sold no more chocolate mousse. So,
Oh, get the horn on that one now, Paul.
all right. Speaking of food, we love talking about food. So this story pulled people out of the woodwork. The famous Idaho potato truck. There's a picture of it right there. It's the famous Idaho potato truck tour is on its annual trip across the country, hauling an 8,000-pound replica of an Idaho potato to promote eating potatoes. I didn't think there was anybody who didn't like to eat potatoes, but they obviously believe that they have to promote potatoes around the country. Um, it weighs 8,000 pounds. That's 4 tons. And John, I don't remember. I think we saw 4 tons of potatoes open for Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh, you might be right about that, Paul.
Yeah, or maybe it was Mashing Pumpkins. That's who it was.
Oh, okay. All right. Got to be a little bit
So
more precise. All right.
yeah, now it's not quite they they try to scare people. They said that it was they found it growing near the Boise nuclear power plant, but I don't think that's it. I think it's a fake. 4 tons of real potatoes would be 21,000 potatoes. That's 4 tons worth, which would be enough to make 10 billion cans of Pringles, John, for you.
Oh yeah,
So
sure. That's
that's
a
about a
useful.
year's.
No, that's quite a useful approach there, right? For Pringles, yeah, you can't beat that.
Yeah. So I heard from people all over the world on this story. I couldn't believe it. I heard from my friend Tim, who works for Coast to Coast AM. In fact, he does the same thing for Coast to Coast AM that I do for Mysterious Universe, writing about weird news. And he informed me that there is a 55-ton potato, much bigger than this, in front of the Potato Museum on Prince Edward Island, which is in Nova Scotia, I think. So here's a picture.
Yes.
Here's a picture of the Prince Edward potato, and a couple hugging it. I hope that's what they're doing. Um, so
Wow.
yeah, I thought Tim was into UFOs and Bigfoot, but apparently he keeps track of potatoes too. Uh, Prince Edward Island is on Canada. It's on Canada's smallest province, off of New Brunswick and Nova Scotia in the Gulf of St. Lawrence. But that's not why I mentioned this. The Potato Museum. That province produces 25% of Canada's potatoes, which is why the museum is there.
Okay.
The world's largest exhibition of potato-related farm machinery, agriculture, and community artifacts, besides the world's largest potato sculpture. Now, Idaho has other things going for it. So they have the world's largest potato hotel, which is a picture of this here. Now, it looks terrible. No windows or anything, I don't think. But if that looks familiar, this is actually one of the former potatoes that made the tour around the country, being pulled by the truck. So
Oh,
they retired it and got a bigger one, and they turned this one into a potato hotel, which they rent out, the Big Idaho Potato Hotel. It's a 6-ton potato strapped. Let's see. This one is on 400 acres of farmland in Boise, Idaho. So I don't see anything around it. You got to know what you're looking for to stay there. Christy Wolf, a former Big Idaho Potato Tour spokesperson, has redecorated it into an Airbnb. You get the whole farm to yourself. You have room for 2 guests, 1 bedroom, and 1 bathroom. In case you're planning your summer trip, John and Karen, everybody out there.
wow.
Now, while you're in Idaho, you can visit the Idaho Potato Museum, which is in Blackfoot, the potato capital of the world, so they say, which has the world's largest baked potato sculpture. So
Wow. Okay.
if you're into baked potatoes, there's the world's largest baked potato sculpture, and a lady who seems really excited to be visiting the Potato Museum. It also has the world's largest collection of potato mashers, which they have on display here. Look at that. I don't know. There's hundreds and hundreds of potato mashers,
Wow.
all attached to a wall. You can stand there and look at them, I guess, and take pictures of them, maybe take selfies with them. But this should not be confused with the world's largest potato masher, which is right here. This is in Plover, Wisconsin. Now, this thing looks like a very weird cell phone tower, but it's actually it looks like about a 40-foot tall traditional potato masher. I don't know what else there is to see there, but there it is right there. So
There's not much around it either, Paul.
no. And at the Idaho Potato Museum, John, this is for you, the largest potato chip ever made. There it is, right there. Now,
Wow.
it's a Pringle. Obviously, you see the Pringles over there. Pringles helped make it. It is listed in the Guinness Book of World Records, world's largest potato chip. Made in 1991 on a slow day at the Pringle factory, I guess. Measures 25 by 14 inches, weighs 5.4 ounces. And if you're on a diet, 920 calories in one potato chip.
Wow.
Yeah, which is equal to 80 regular size Pringles. Somebody must have dropped it. I just noticed there's a crack.
Yeah, little crack there.
There,
The crack there. Yeah, really.
or else
Yeah.
some very hungry tourist happened to try breaking in and taking a bite out of it. So while we're talking about Idaho, it appears that apples and donuts are not the only things Bigfoot eats. You can put potatoes on the Bigfoot food pyramid. So this story, Bigfoot doesn't have a good photographer, but he's got a great public relations person in Idaho, because city officials in Pocatello, Idaho, announced the arrival of Bigfoot Pocatello. There's a picture of Bigfoot Pocatello right there, pulling into Pocatello, walking right down Main Street. they said he's been hiding in the mountains and forest for so long, but they sent out a welcome notice to him saying, "Hey, come and visit us." So he showed up with open arms. He's making strides in the public eye by appearing in social media posts. Bigfoot Pokey is his name, and at civic events around Pocatello and Idaho. Now, there he is right there, a much better photo of the Pocatello Bigfoot on a hill overlooking the fine-looking town right there. He's been going all over town. So here's a picture of him visiting some locals in front of a store. Here's a picture of him running away. Looks like he may have stolen something from that booth. I don't know. And here's a picture of him at a bar. Having a cocktail. I don't know what Bigfoot drinks. So maybe something made out of potatoes.
Oh boy.
I tell you what, and look, before I make a comment, let John comment on that. And here's Bigfoot at a restaurant. Kind of, I think this couple wasn't expecting to see the Pocatello Bigfoot show up at their table, so they were hoping for the waiter because it looks like they've been waiting there for a while. So he goes to fairs. He's very social. Obviously, goes to restaurants and bars. In my opinion, this is John. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, geez, it's kind of a strange look that he has, obviously, and I don't know. I don't know if he can be that convincing. I mean, that's why I have to be skeptical again. As you know, I'm very skeptical about Bigfoot, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I
it's
agree
just.
with you on that one, John. I don't think this is the real Bigfoot. But I will say this, having covered Bigfoot sightings for many, many years, this
Mhm.
is by far the worst Bigfoot costume I have ever seen. Um,
Yeah, I don't think that you can find one worse.
no, no, it almost looks homemade. Um,
Yes, it
which
does. Hmm.
if you're going to make a homemade Bigfoot costume, what I would do is I'd cover myself with Elmer's glue and I'd go to a barber shop and, in 5 minutes, roll around on the floor for 5 minutes. I'd have a much better costume than
Find
that.
some kind of usage for that, all that cut hair, I guess, right?
Oh my God, yeah. So, so anyway, all right. So this was another popular story on Facebook this week. This comes from let's see, California. Circus performer Layla Noon set a new Guinness World Record for the longest time suspended by your hair. She spent 25 minutes, 11 seconds hanging by her ponytail in the Redwood National and State Parks in California. Now, in her ponytail was a ring, and that ring was attached to looks like a not a bungee cord, but some sort of steel cord attached to a
Hmm.
branch in the redwood tree. So she's hanging from the tree. She set a second record for the world's cheapest facelift because, all
Oh my.
all that pulling definitely took all the wrinkles out of her face, probably her neck and most of her upper body as well. Uh,
Jeez.
she passed the time. I'll explain one of these photos. She said she passed the time by getting into yoga poses. So here she is doing the lotus position. She also did the cobra, the warrior, and the downward dog tied to a tree. So very interesting yoga position, which I think she invented. Uh, she, she trained for 2 years on this, John, for 2 years to set
Wow.
this record. Yeah.
What dedication?
Oh, well, you know how she did it. She has a car with a sunroof, so she would drive around. She'd get her hair stuck in the sunroof, and she'd drive around for hours to get the feel for having
Oh
her
my.
having her hair being
It's a lot
pulled,
of sounds like a lot of pain.
which we wouldn't know about. But
Yes, we don't know about that, Paul, because we don't have any hair. So yeah, that's understood.
so her job, she's a professional hair hanger. This is what she does. She does it for circuses and carnivals, I guess. She grew up in a circus family, she says. Um, people would come over to visit and they'd see Barbie dolls hanging from the ceiling fan. So she
That's
was.
that's your first clue that something is not right.
You got it. You got it, John. There's something definitely different about this girl here. She can also, I found this interesting. She can also shoot a bow and arrow with her feet, using her feet. So while she's hanging by her hair, she can use her feet to shoot a bow and arrow. I couldn't find a picture of her doing it, but I'm thinking, what a great way to hunt for bear in the park that she's at. You know, here she is. She's hanging from the tree by her hair. Bear comes up. Bear thinks, "Oh man, this is you know, dinner on a rope here." And all of a sudden, she pulls out her bow and arrow and shoots the bear with her feet. She doesn't even need to use her hand. Poor unsuspecting bear didn't know what hit him. Now, not that we're promoting bear hunting here on the show, or hair hanging for that
For that matter, correct.
yeah, or
Correct.
bears eating humans or anything else like that. But I
Right,
just thought
right.
that was what a unique talent, multiple talents that this lady has.
Oh, I have to say that exactly.
Yeah. Now, speaking of bears, this happened in New Hampshire where they have black bears. Jackson, New Hampshire, police are looking for a bear that someone caught on a trail cam who was actually trying to steal the trail camera while a second bear stood guard and watched. You know, this is what happens when trail cams point to the exact spot where shy bears go into the woods to do their thing. So
Wow.
before I show you the picture, here I found a picture of a bear looking into a trail cam with another bear in the background.
Okay.
Much clearer than the actual photo, which is why I didn't post it on Facebook. But you can really magnify it here. You can see the eye of the bear as it's trying to chew up the trail cam.
Yes.
A
I can
blurry
make that
outline.
out. I can make that out. Sure.
Yeah, and then you see the blurry outline of the second bear in the back over there.
Mhm.
So the owner of the trail cam was really upset about the whole thing happening. He says that this kind of crime is unbearable and a sign that there's trouble brewing in Jackson, New Hampshire.
You know, there's something about some phraseology there, Paul. Very good.
Well, speaking of that particular phraseology, John. So who do I hear from but our good friend Brian, friend of the show and longtime personal
Oh, Brian in
both
West
of us.
Virginia.
Yeah,
Okay.
out of West Virginia. He said that when he went to my high school, the high school that we both went to, who our mascot was the Bruins, he said his nickname for 4 years was Trouble Bruin. So, you know,
Well, that would make sense.
does
would make
that fit
sense.
him? Does that fit him?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So if there's any bears listening, don't worry. You know go ahead and do it. The pictures are going to turn out blurry anyways. Okay, let's go to Purdue. Team of Purdue University students built a robot that solved the Rubik's Cube in a record-breaking for robots 0.1 second, a tenth of a second. Here's a picture of the machine right here. So they randomly, they mixed up the Rubik's Cube, they stuck it in the machine, they turned it on 0.1 seconds later, and you got to see the video. I took a picture, screenshot from the video. There's this blur, and it's solved. It's solved. It's unbelievable.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So now they want to use this machine to solve an even tougher puzzle, which is trying to untie a shoe that a little kid tied.
Oh yeah, sure. A practical usage there.
Yeah. So these guys, here's a picture of the students here, the proud students in front of their machine. Look at how the massive amount of equipment here that they put together just
That's
to.
a pretty intricate machine, to say the
Yeah,
least.
it's huge. Like three things. There's cables all over the place. They call it the Purdubix cube because they're from Purdue, the Purdubix cube. So the previous, if the next person breaks their record, then that person will be called the spoiler maker because
Oh, okay.
right?
All right.
Yeah. So I wondered if they could do it underwater. You know, there's all kinds of world records. We've talked about Rubik's Cube world records, people solving it underwater,
Yes.
upside down. I'm
Sure,
sure
sure.
the lady with the hanging from her hair could probably solve it.
There you
hanging
go.
up there. Or the handstand guy, maybe
Sure.
solve it with his feet.
Oh,
Or get
yeah.
together. He could get together with, have the lady who can shoot the bow and arrow with her feet, teach him how to solve the Rubik's Cube with his feet. A bunch of records all at once. Okay. I've talked about the fact that I can pretty much fall asleep any place, but I can't fall asleep in the place that we're about to talk about right here. So this comes from the Mangshan National Forest Park in China. They have launched the cliff bed experience, and they call it that because it's a bed attached to a cliff. There's a picture
Oh,
of it right
no,
there.
no, no.
A 320-foot cliff with a bed attached to it. Um, they, they said that the veranda-like platform is part of the Scenic Spots Outdoor Adventure Package. It features wooden slats underneath the bed, which you can see, a
Hmm.
small, a small double air mattress, a duvet, which is the blanket, I guess, and a pillow. So, of course, in case of emergency, the pillowcase can be used as a barf bag, uh, which I would use now. So, so there's some restrictions. Restrictions may apply. You have to be between 14 and 60 years old. So that eliminates us right there. Uh, you can't weigh more than 220 pounds for obvious reasons, or be shorter than 4 foot 6 inches tall. I don't quite understand why the height thing there. So there's going to be no Oompa Loompas up there, which
Wow.
yeah, falling off or somebody pushing them off. Um, you have to get to it using a cable car. They don't have a picture of the cable car there. Um, Here's another picture of the lady on this thing. There's pinions. I think that's what they call those things, drilled into the cliff so you can climb up there from wherever the cable car comes from. Um,
Yeah, there's quite a few of those pinions. Look at
yeah.
those. Yeah.
So guess how much it costs, John? Here's one for you. How much does it cost to spend some time on that cliff bed?
$7,500.
Close. $13.
$13. That's all?
$13.
Really?
Yeah.
You would think that you'd get a whole gang of people interested in doing that. Just
I don't know.
daredevils.
I think they've been lowering the price because nobody wants to do it besides this lady here.
Right.
Um, but if you do, not only do you get to sleep on this bed on the cliff, you get a free cup of coffee. Um,
So you got that. So you got that going for you.
Yeah, here's a guy drinking his free cup of coffee here.
There you go.
If that was me, I'd pass on it because I could have gone without water for a week and I'd still be peeing in my pants on this bed.
Oh
So,
man, I bet.
um,
Yeah.
you have to be attached by that bungee cord over there in
Oh
case you
yeah.
fall off.
Sure. Sure. Wow.
So, believe it or not, and you're right, John, for $13, it opened at April 25th, just a month ago. They've
Hmm.
already had 400 people. Now, obviously, you don't stay all night. You basically go up there, you lay there for a while, you throw up, you drink your coffee, you throw up again, you wet your pants, and then you come down. Um,
Doesn't sound like a lot of fun, Paul.
I wasn't reading from the brochure, John, but
No, I understand that, but I'm just thinking, man, I don't know. I guess
so
it's there as a challenge for people, but I don't know.
I get it. I don't think any of us would be up on that thing.
No, I'm not interested.
Not at all. Not at all. Not
Confidently
even
tell you
if it
that.
were a couple feet off the ground, I wouldn't be on it.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, for sure.
so if that story gave you a headache, I got the cure for it. A viral video on TikTok got 4 million views. We need to figure out how to do this, by the way. Uh, Viral video got 4 million views because it explains something called the McDonald's migraine meal. Have you ever heard of that? The McDonald's
I
migraine?
have not, Paul. I have to honestly say I have not.
No. Well, this doctor, now it's a TikTok doctor, so I'm not sure if there's any real doctors on TikTok. It's a TikTok doctor claims that a large Coca-Cola, here we go, a large Coca-Cola and an order of large fries makes your migraine go away in minutes. Um, Unless you got the migraine from being stuck in the line waiting to get
Yeah.
into McDonald's. But there you go. They said that it's a combination of the caffeine in the Coke, the salt on the fries, and the sugar in the Coke that somehow quickly makes the migraine go away. So I'm thinking, if I had a migraine that bad, what I would, you probably know why you have the headache. You get you stop at McDonald's and then you go to Waffle House and you eat all of it Waffle House, and you get rid of your hangover at the same time, right?
Well, yeah, sure. Yeah. Kill two birds with one stone. Right.
Maybe Waffle
Yeah.
House should cut a deal with
Hey,
McDonald's.
that's an idea. That's an idea, I'm sure.
That's why, I think the number one reason why people go to Waffle House is because they've been out drinking all night. So I don't know
That's normally how it goes.
if either of those, McDonald's or Waffle House, or the doctor who recommended this, if you're listening, we'll be glad to promote it for you for the how much did you say you thought that bed would cost, John? 7,500
I thought
Yeah.
$7,500.
for the low price of $7,500. We'll do that promotion for you.
I
Oh,
think
there
that's a
you
good
go.
idea. Yep.
All right. Well, I think we've reached the end of my segment of What in the World, all our weird news stories from around the world. That means it's time for our good buddy John Donalo and What in the World of Sports. So every week I ask John. Now, regular listeners know John and I met in college. We're fraternity brothers. John knows more about sports than anybody I know. He's constantly pulling out obscure facts that I never heard of. And I know they're true because he knows them. So I ask him every week, John, find us a sport that fits the theme of What in the World. In other words, a real sport, sometimes strange, always funny. And regular listeners know John manages to find one every week. And this week is no exception. So, John, why don't you introduce your sport for us?
Sounds good, Paul. Thanks for the intro. So, our sport this week is unique, and as a little bit of a backdrop, the Cleveland Marathon was run 2 weekends ago.
Oh, yeah.
So it's fitting that our sport this week is also a marathon, and it is called the Mount Marathon Race, which is run every 4th of July in the city of Seward, Alaska.
Wow.
While it's not an actual marathon, it's the perfect name because it's a race up and down Mount Marathon.
Oh, how clever.
It is clever. So it turns out this is one of the oldest foot races in North America, with the first race occurring between 1908 and 1912. But the first organized race is recognized as starting in 1915. Now, legend has it that the race began as a bar bet between two sourdoughs, and sourdoughs is a slang for people who have stayed in the North far too long. The goal was to run from downtown Seward to the top of Mount Marathon and back in under an hour. Now, the winner finished in 1 hour and 20 minutes, and that may sound impressive, but the race is only 3.1 miles in length, with
Wow.
their turnaround now marked by a stone marker 2,974 feet above sea level
Oh,
and a mile and a half from the finish line.
wow.
So this is a strenuous marathon. Now, for the official race in 1915, local merchants there donated prizes. There was no official route. Racers were free to choose their own trails to the summit and back. The reason may be that there is no safe way to get up and down this steep mountain. Average speed uphill is only 2 miles an hour,
Wow.
and downhill is only 12 miles an hour.
Well, unless you're
Eh,
rolling,
yeah.
I think.
Oh, sure. And it is not uncommon for the racers to cross the finish line either injured, bleeding, or covered in mud. Now, the winning runner in that first race was James Walter, who finished the course in exactly 1 hour and 2 minutes.
Ooh.
Wow.
Now, during the 2012 race, an Anchorage man disappeared after last being seen by race officials approaching the summit. Unfortunately, he was officially declared dead in August of 2012, and his family reached a settlement with the Seward Chamber of Commerce.
Ooh. I wonder if there's bears.
It could have been any one of a number of reasons, Paul, Karen, and audience. Now, as a result, several safety improvements were made prior to the 2013 race and have been enacted ever since. The race begins downtown at 4th and Adams Street in front of the First National Bank, Alaska, and it ends then a block south of where it began. The men's race record time of 40 minutes, 37 seconds was set just recently in 2024 by David Norris. The women's record was set by Allie McLaughlin. She did that in 2012 at the time of 47 minutes and 9 seconds.
Wow.
So, if you want to run the world's toughest 5K race, head to Alaska for the Mount Marathon race. You don't have to worry about polar bears because they're not that dumb.
That explains it.
Wow.
What a unique race though, and seeing how it's been done for over 100 years, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a very, very tough race to run. Not to be funny, of course, but I mean, it really takes a lot of spirit and it takes a lot of guts, I think, to do this race. It really does.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was looking through these pictures that you had, John. I love this one here with these 5 women who obviously completed the race. They're completely covered with mud. This woman's got mud all around her mouth, like she went downhill.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
First.
I mean, it's like, you have to go through all
Yeah.
this pain, right, to do
Yeah.
this. I mean, you really do.
And then you said they implemented safety measures. I didn't see anything safe anywhere in any of these
Well,
pictures.
and that's interesting because in my research, I tried to find some examples of it, where they made some kind of significant improvement, to be recognized. I just think the terrain itself is unsafe. Again, and to your point about whether that person unfortunately was killed because of a bear attack or another wild animal attack, I mean, who knows? I mean, yeah, it's just
Poor guy. He started rolling down the hill, ended up in the lake over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It was-
look. I mean, it's really a rigorous course, and it's really a tough race to run, obviously. But
Yeah,
I think,
yeah.
gives you a great sense of satisfaction, like these ladies are here having a chance to finish it, right? Something you want to,
Yeah.
complete.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Great sport, John. Great sport.
Oh, thanks.
It's very deceiving. They call it the Mountain Marathon race, but it's not a marathon, but it's on Mount Marathon. I thought that was pretty.
Yeah, like you say, it's clever, Paul. It's a clever.
Yeah.
name for it, yeah.
As I mentioned before, John and I went to college together. We were in a fraternity together. I don't know if you remember this, John, but while we were in the fraternity in college, we were challenged to a mountain race. Do you remember being challenged by another fraternity to a mountain
Yeah,
race?
no, Paul, I wish I could recall that, but I don't. So you'll have to help educate me on this.
I can't believe it. It was so unique. So the older guys in the fraternity, obviously they always put me and John in charge because they were busy at the bar. So the first thing we had to do, I can't believe you don't remember this. We had to find a mountain because we live in Cleveland, Ohio. There's no mountains in Cleveland.
Yeah, now you mentioned that, right? I mean, that's a task, sure.
So the only mountain that we knew of that was anywhere close to our college campus, I think I have a picture of it. Here it is right here. It was a mountain of beer cans.
Yep.
I believe this mountain of beer cans was behind one of the dormitories, and it was probably my dormitory, which was notorious.
It could easily have been that, Paul. Yes, I would agree with you.
So we thought about using this mountain of beer cans to challenge this other fraternity. But then John is the brilliant one. He came up with this brilliant idea. He said, no, I will make us a mountain that I guarantee will allow us to win. And what John did, using the same theme, he built a mountain of beer cans, but they were all filled with beer.
Paul, now that you mention this and show it to me, I remember having to be able to painstakingly collect all the cans and position them so that obviously one can is similar to the other, right?
Yep,
So
that's
I
right.
put it together that way. I'm very proud of that
Oh,
now that you
it was
mentioned
a,
it,
oh,
Paul.
a feat, a miracle. And then John, smart as he is, he opened the top can so we could smell the beer. That's all we needed. We defeated the other fraternity. There was no competition whatsoever. And then of course I believe we shared at least a couple of the beers with them as
Yeah,
well.
we're right guys. I mean, come on now. So yeah.
The John Carroll University Mount Marathon race. That's
That was. Thanks, Paul. Thanks.
By the way, for those of you who are wondering how old we are, John and I are celebrating our 50th college reunion in what less than 2 weeks, if I'm not
Less than
mistaken.
2 weeks, Paul. Yes, we'll be
Yeah.
back at the campus, right?
So we'll be when that's all done, we'll be talking about that as well. So see if anybody else remembers any of the sports we participated in. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. That's all the photos I have there. So that means we reach the end of What in the World of Sports. That means it's time for Bluff the Co-host, everybody's favorite weird news game. Oh boy, I get more mail than for nothing compares to the people who are fans of Bluff the Co-host. The rules are simple. I have 3 stories. Similar to the ones we've been talking about all afternoon. One big difference, those stories were real. These stories may be real, may be a bluff. And it's up to John, Karen, and those of you playing at home to decide real or bluff. Wagering is allowed, so place your bets. John and Karen, hands on the buzzer. Let's get right to story number 1. The Arizona Diamondbacks are a Major League Baseball team based in Phoenix, Arizona, and named for the Diamondback rattlesnakes, who also live in Arizona. However, the team may have to change its name after Arizona herpetologists, those are people who study snakes, found a rattlesnake with round spots like a leopard instead of diamonds on its skin. The snake was found alive and well and keeps its spots even after it sheds its skin. So the scientists suspect there may be more of them. Team owners are hoping they don't overtake in numbers the Diamondback Rattlers because no one wants to change the name of the team to the Arizona On Deck Circlebacks.
Oh boy.
Okay, so the Arizona Diamondbacks are worried because Diamondback rattlesnakes may be replaced by rattlesnakes with circles on their backs instead of diamonds. Real or bluff? Well, Karen, we'll start with you.
I'm going to say it's a bluff. It's very convoluted, so bluff.
Very logical,
right.
Karen. Very logical.
Okay, all right. That argument works many times. Okay, so John, Karen says it's a bluff. John, how about you?
Yeah, ditto on this one. I agree with Karen. Yeah, it's just it's convoluted. I mean, how twisted can it be? I mean, they're the Diamondbacks, and you're worried about what the snake appears to be like. I mean, it's just no. I think it's a bluff.
Oh, wow. Okay, so John and Karen both think it's a bluff. I'll check with the judges. I think the judges are issuing a special ruling here of half a point for each one of you because it is a real story. There are Diamondbacks snakes, Diamondback rattlesnakes in Arizona that are showing up with circles on their backs. However, the Arizona Diamondback baseball team doesn't give a
hoot about that. They don't give a yeah. Now let me ask you a question though, Paul. So these circles are they because of nature, or are people putting circles on their back, or it's not clear?
I don't think
That's
so.
never been defined.
Yeah, no, the rattlesnake. Bear, I have seen rattlesnake roundups in Texas. I don't want to mess with the rattlesnake. I don't think that people are drawing circles on the rattlesnake. I think maybe the rattlesnakes have gotten into some kind of kinky sex games and they're
Well,
kissing each other and leaving
that's
those marks. What did they used to call those marks? I don't. Anyways, so I don't know. The judges said we'll give you a half a point to each one of you. So that means that the score is tied.
all right. Well, okay. Well, Karen and I are tied. That's good. That's all right.
Yeah, it's like soccer.
Yeah.
Yeah, one half to one half. Okay. All right. Well, let's get right to story number 2. There are pig racing contests and there are pulled pork eating contests, but a county fair in Tennessee has taken pig competitions to the next level with a pulled pork tug of war contest. No delicious pulled pork is harmed in this competition because it's between teams of live pigs harnessed together like Alaskan sled dogs. But instead of pulling sleds, they try to pull a rope tied to another team of pigs, pulling in the opposite direction into what else? A pigsty filled with mud. This is the second year for the pulled pork tug of war, and it's the highlight of the fair because betting is allowed. No live pigs are harmed either, and they all get to live at a petting zoo where the contest has made them into celebrities. Okay, so the state fair or a fair in Tennessee is having pulled pork competition, pulled pork with live pig tug of war. Is that what it's called? Pulled pork tug of war. Real or bluff? John, we'll start with you.
I gotta think this is a bluff. I mean, I can't envision pigs being assembled in a group or whatever, and then they're going to be pulling a rope of other pigs. That's really, I'm going to use Karen's word today, convoluted, very convoluted. That's got to be a bluff. I pray it's a bluff.
Word of the day, convoluted. Okay, so John says it's a bluff. Karen, how about you?
Pigs pulling pigs. That would make a really good band. Pigs
Oh,
pulling pigs.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But I agree with John. I cannot picture pigs pulling each other. So no.
Okay. So Karen says it's a bluff. John says it's a bluff. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say, congratulations to both of you. That is a bluff.
All right. Very good.
Wow,
Very
which
good.
makes the score 1.5 to 1.5. Wow. Oh, so
it's a spirited contest today. Very good.
Convoluted or not, Karen are doing well. Okay, so
all right.
points are doubling round number 3, but it doesn't matter. We're going to have a winner, or we'll have a tie, which means they're both winners. So let's see what we've got with story number 3. Speed cameras are big in Switzerland, and the police keep their records for decades. So it's no surprise that when someone gets caught more than once, they know about it. However, it was a big surprise in one small town when the someone was a duck. The speed camera picked up a male duck traveling at 32 miles per hour in a 12-mile-per-hour zone. One of the old timers on the force thought it looked familiar, so he went through the records and found a video of a duck going through the same camera at the same speed in 2018. 7 years to the day before it happened again in 2025. Wildlife experts say it looks like the same duck, and it must be suffering from a duck malady known as the need for speed. Okay. a duck caught on the same speed camera at the same speed in Switzerland. How many years apart did I say? 7 years apart. Real or bluff? Karen, we'll start with you.
I don't think a duck can go that fast to begin with. They waddle. They don't run. Okay.
Well, okay. I'll help you out. He was flying.
He was flying.
He was flying. Yeah, they caught him flying.
Flying.
32 miles an hour. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I don't think so.
Okay. I was in your neighborhood recently, going down the street, not in your neighborhood, but on the main street going past your neighborhood. And we had to stop because there were some geese walking across the street.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And there's people yelling, "You can fly."
Well, they don't fly because the honest truth is people in our community are feeding them. I think they are too fat to fly.
They're too fat to fly. Okay. All right. So nonetheless, point well taken, Karen, that this could have been a duck that was walking, but it was a duck that was flying. Karen says it's a bluff. John, how about you?
I think it's a bluff, but I'm going to say that it's real. it's just coincidental that within a 7-year period of time, at the same day or whatever it was, this a duck was caught doing this, right? So I'm going to go against the grain. I want to say it's a true story.
Ooh, wow. Okay. John goes against the grain, says that the speeding duck is a true story. Karen says, no, it's probably a bluff. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say, congratulations this week go to, drumroll please, John. That is a real story. Believe it
Wow.
or not,
Duck.
yeah, you can
Wow.
Google it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can Google it. Maybe maybe it was the duck. It was a male duck, and he was a mating season, and he was rushing to get home
Yeah,
after a
maybe.
day in the pond. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. He wants to, yeah, he didn't want to miss out, right? So,
No, yeah, it's part of walk. Yeah.
boy. Oh my Lord.
All
Wow.
right, so that means John has a perfect score, even though he only got a half a point on the first one. Congratulations. Well, it's about time you had a good,
Yes.
good week there.
Yeah, you know what? Karen's been really doing well here for the last several weeks. So
Yeah,
it's good to be back in the scoring column here.
Yep.
And I'm sure we'll have a good contest next week also.
I think so. So I hope everybody out there got all those correct as well. For the real stories, again, you can Google them on Google and see the videos. They're pretty interesting. Especially the flying duck. And on that note, the Flying Ducks would be another good name for a band, Karen. On that note, or the Walking Geese. We've got band names galore here. On that note, let's wrap this baby up here. Another edition of What in the World podcast. I want to thank our producer, co-host, and media mogul at newclevelandradio.net, Karen Hale. Thanks for everything you do for our podcast, everything you do for all the podcasts at newclevelandradio.net. Everybody, please check out the website. There's a bar across the top that tells you how to find our podcast and all the other great podcasts. Also, take a look at the rest of the page and you find out all about Yes I Can coaching with Karen. Get some great coaching advice from her as well. I also want to thank my old buddy John Denalo, our co-host, host of What in the World of Sports. All around good guy, puts up with everything I can dish at him and comes back for more the following week.
Well, thanks, Paul.
If you came to rehearsal, that was your time to chime in there, John, but I'll help you out.
No, just thank you very much. I appreciate that. The show is a great thing to do every week, and looking forward to next week's show also.
Well, we're hoping that John has a good sports week this week because he didn't wear a hat this week because none of his teams are doing that well. So
right. So maybe next week I can hopefully don the hat of one of my teams, and
he'll be decked out. He'll have jerseys, hats. He'll have baseball bats. He'll have everything if the teams are winning. So.
That is right, Paul. That is right.
All right. And most of all, we want to thank all of you who listen to our show or watch it on YouTube. You're the reason why we do this every week. Thank you if you tune in live, if you listen to us while you're exercising or out walking, if you watch us on YouTube, whatever it is, thank you so much. Again, you're the reason why we do it. We hope you have as much fun listening and watching as we do putting the show on. And on that note, Karen, any parting words of wisdom?
No wisdom this week.
No holidays this week.
Nope.
We're going to hope that Zoom has calmed down, and we'll be back on our regular day next week, Tuesdays at 3:30. As let's hope so. And otherwise,
sounds
great week and a great weekend, and we'll see.